Manx Radio Sport.
2.5 minutes after 5 o'clock, then welcome along to the first Manx Radio Saturday Sport Classified of the brand new season. Coming up between now and 6 o'clock, we'll bring you full results and reaction from local football, rugby and hockey. Tony Mepham, Dave Christian and Ben Cunningham joining me in the studio. We'll also look ahead to FC Isle of Man, who are in action this evening at the Bowl, their first game at home for nearly a month as they welcome Bury, one of the biggest games of the season for them, to the Bowl. Rob Pritchard is our man there. He'll have team news and preview for us after 5:30 this evening. And of course, Rob will be back with full commentary from just before 6 o'clock this evening. But let's start, as always, with your classified results for Saturday the 7th of September, and we begin with football in Canada Life Men's Premier League. Foxdale 8, Moran 0. Russian United 2, St Mary's 2. St George's 3, Onken 1. Peel 6, Laxey 2. Corinthians 3, Ramsey 0. Union Mills 2, St John's United 3. Moving on to Arden and Druggan Limited Division 2, Castletown 1, Ramsey Youth Centre Old Boys 7. We're awaiting a result from Maloo against Governors Athletic. Braddon 4, Pulrose United 0. Michael United 13, Douglas and District 3. Canada Life Combination 1, we're awaiting a result from Moran against Foxdale. If you do have any of these missing results for us, 166 177 is the text number. St Mary's 2, Russian United 3. Onken 10, St George's 2. Again, awaiting a result for Laxey against Peel in Combination 1. Ramsey 1, Corinthians 2, St John's United 3, Union Mills 5. Arden and Druggan Limited Combination 2, Ramsey Youth Centre Old Boys against Castletown was postponed. Castletown couldn't field a team this afternoon. Awaiting results from Colby against Douglas Athletic and Douglas Royal against Gyms. And Pulrose 1, Braddon 9. And Douglas and District 4, Michael United 1. Again, if you have any of those missing results, 166 177 is the text number. Do let us know and we can pass that on to everyone else. Moving on to Rugby, Regional 2 Northwest, Furwood Waterloo 33, Douglas 0, and Counties 3 ADM Lancashire and Cheshire, Vagabonds 13, Ormskirk 31. Moving to hockey, the first weekend of the mixed leagues, and in the mixed Premier League, Backers A6, Vikings B1, Vikings A2, Harlequins A0, Valkyries B0, Valkyries A1, and Backers B2, Castletown Celts 3. Mixed Division 1, Valkyries C2, Backers C4, Vikings D1, Ramsey A8. Awaiting result in the Castletown Southerners Vikings C game. We will bring that to you as soon as we get it. Of course, a late pushback, that one. In Mixed Division 2, Valkyries D0, Backers Colt 6, Castletown Cushags 1, Castletown Camags 4. Again, we are awaiting a full-time in Harlequins B, Ramsey Ravens. Mixed Division 3, Backers Mixed Bucks 2, Backers D4. Castletown Carrick 0, Castletown Cosney 7. Vikings E6, Ramsey Rookies 0. And in the mixed under-15s league, the only result we have in so far, Castletown Sabres 1, Castletown Sharks 2, and we'll catch up with Ben Cunningham with their full reaction to the first weekends in the mixed leagues a little bit later on in the programme. But Tony Mepham joining me in the studio for football, Tony, and we will start off then with the game you were at this afternoon, which was finished Union Mills 2, St John's United 3.
Yeah, it was quite exciting, to be honest with you, because certainly in the first couple of minutes when Union Mills took the lead, and it was through Luke Booth, cracking header, and I just thought to myself, you know what, there's a good chance here that Union Mills are going to run away with this. And then when they got the second one, it was sort of, not necessarily done and dusted, but they were so dominant in that sort of first half, and I don't know what it was with St John's. They just didn't seem to get going, didn't create too many chances. and the defence of Union Mills just dealt with everything that was thrown at them comfortably. But in the second half, it was totally different, because certainly in the first 20-25 minutes, it was all St John's, and they were really putting pressure on them. And a good ball that was really one of those. It looked like a lost cause for Dean Lees to deal with down that right-hand side. And he just chased the defender down. Goalkeeper came out, and he managed to get it past them both and squeezed it in tight angle to make it 2-1. And then Aaron Babb, I think it was, on 65 minutes, made it 2-2. And you could just see the heads drop of the Union Mills players, but they did pick themselves up a little bit after that, and had a couple of good chances, and probably the one that should have finished was a good cross in from the number 11, who had a good game, Tyler Hughes, and it was second half substitute Dominic McCarry-Brennan was there, and I just thought he was going to head it straight in, Simon. It was so easy, it looked so easy for him, but he couldn't reach it, and that chance went missing. But then towards the end of the game, it was St John's who had the best chances, and it was Callum Taggart who got the third one, and good finish by him in the box, tightly marked, managed to spin and shoot it in. And I think St John's, certainly in that second half performance, showed a lot of grit and determination, because to me it looked as if Union Mills were going to walk away with the game, and I'm pretty certain Ryan Kelly, the manager of Union Mills, disappointed with the performance. You know, Mason Prince, we were saying how many clean sheets he's been keeping. Well, today it was hard work for him, because the two centre-backs, Nathan Yates and Owen Quayle, were dominant in that first half, but in the second half found it really, really difficult to deal with the forward line of St John's, and the first win for St John's of the season. And
it's been a strong start there for Union Mills, so they shouldn't take too much away from this, really. They've done well the first couple of games.
No, definitely not, and you could see before the game they were all upbeat about today's game. St John's 2 losses, Union Mills 2 wins, not conceded any goals. Performances were very, very good from what I've heard about the 2 games. But today, the first half, superb. Second half, St John's had a really good go, and it's a bit of a story for St John's, to be honest with you, because I thought the same on Tuesday night when they played Corinthians. First half, okay, they played okay, but second half they did really well. So they've got to try and change that form from the second half, Simon, into the first half. But the good thing for Sam Brown and his team, they've got that win, and Union Mills will be licking the wounds a little bit.
OK, let's move on to the first game we mentioned in the classified results. Foxdale continuing that good form, 8-0 winners out against Moran today.
Yeah, and I think it's 8-0 from the information I've got, but it's not quite clear. But I've got the Foxdale scorers, that's for sure. And hat-trick for Lee Gale, but a bit of pressure from him to keep that winning streak going for Foxdale, because Jason Chalmer is the one who's leading the goals at the moment for Foxdale. He got another 3 goals. Charlie Harrison as well with 2. And when you look at it, Jay Chatwood didn't play today. So you take those 4 players up front there for Foxdale. It's absolutely lethal. Plenty of goals in there, and it showed today with 8 goals amongst the 3 players. And I take it did finish up Foxdale 8, Moran 0.
OK, Russian United St Mary's, you were giving us some updates on these throughout the afternoon as well, Tony. Again, sounded like another good game.
Yeah, it was a good game, and I think it was St Mary's who took a 2-0 lead. Joe Berquist with the first one, Mark Wolfenden with the second, but then Cameron Dudley managed to pull one back to make it 2-1, and then Aaron Hawley in the second half got the equaliser, and it must have been sort of all at it in the last sort of 20 minutes or so. I think there was quite a few chances for both teams, but Russian will be happy enough with the point. St Mary's, after that win midweek, would have wanted 3 in this one, but they didn't get it. Point shared, and by the sound of how the game went, fair result.
And St George's 3, Onchan 1. That could be quite a big result for St George's.
Yeah, well, it is, and it could be an important result, because everyone's looking at St George's and saying that it could be them and others that are going to struggle near the bottom. But today it was Ashley Higginbottom who caused the problems for Onchan to deal with. 2 goals by him. New signing Ed Canag got the other one, but Carl Presley it was with a beauty from what I'm hearing for Onchan. And fair play to Onchan. The news that we got in was fair result. St George's finished their chances.
And Peel as well, quite a commanding victory over Laxey, finishing 6-2 that game.
Yeah, and the man we've got to look out for, I think, is Thomas Brown, because he seems to be on fire this season, scoring plenty of goals throughout the pre-season friendlies, and today put a good shift in as well, because he got a hat-trick, and I think we've got some information in from Colin Moore, if I can find out how the game went, but it was 3 goals for Thomas Brown. Taylor Andrews got 1, Rhys Oates got a goal, and Aaron Costain, and a little bit of meat to the bones. Peel twice let Laxey back into the game before 3 goals in the last 10 minutes. I think they've done that on another game this season. On the counter-attack, showed the Westerners present good fitness level, and when you've got the pace of people like Rhys Oates, Thomas Brown as well, it is very, very difficult to deal with. So Laxey's 2 goals, Adam Meelan with one of them, and Aaron Bradley scored from the penalty spot.
The game Rob was at for us this afternoon, it was Corinthians 3, Ramsey 0, and I think that game sealed really by those 2 quick second half goals for Corinthians.
Yeah, and I think it's a great performance by Corinthians. I know I'm linked with them, but certainly today there are 1 or 2 players missing, but they managed to sort of bring in players and played exceptionally well. And by all accounts, the first goal scored by Josh Quine. João Marquez, who's sort of getting better every year. He's only a young lad. He got the second, and Joe Middleton, nice to see him back. He missed the midweek game, and he's here, I think, till Christmas. So I think that's a great result for Corinthians. I just thought the young guns might have found it a little bit harder against a more experienced Ramsey side today. And I think what more impressive for Ben Qualtrough is the back four, and it looked pretty solid on Tuesday, and today they've managed to keep out the forwards of Ramsey. Another 3 points for Corinthians, and it just remains them on top of the league just by 1 goal ahead of Peel.
Okay, we move on to Division 2 then, and Castletown 1, Ramsey Youth Centre All Boys 7.
That's all the information we've got on the Ramsey Youth Centre bit, so if you could text us through, please, to Simon 166177. But for Castletown, first game of the season, Ash Egan got the goal.
Okay, and Maloo Governors Athletic, we're still awaiting a result for that, so like Tony says, if you can let us know, 166 177. Braddon top of Division 2 as things stand, 4-0 winners against Pulrose today. Yeah,
Braddon are absolutely flying. That's played 3, won 3, and certainly today, good performance against a much improved Pulrose side. David Kinraid with 1 goal, Charlie Knight got the second, Matthew McNee got the third one, and at the moment, you don't see a Braddon score sheet without Terry Gow being on it, and he got one today, even though it was from the penalty spot. Comfortable victory in the end for Braddon.
And what a way to pick up your first win of the season for Michael United, 13-3 winners against D&D.
Yeah, I was speaking to Michael Corlett, who's manager, coach, goalkeeper, everything for Michael, and I said, this is your season here, Michael. There's a good opportunity to get yourself up there, but they hadn't done particularly well in the 2 previous games because they played 2 with only 1 point, and certainly today against Douglas and District, 6-2 up at half time, and that man looks as if he's going for the silver boot again. Liam Kane, he won it last year, 4 goals for him today. Sam Greasley got 1, and then I think it was Langton got 2, Harrison got a couple of goals, Jordan Cowan with 2, Callister with 1, and Bailey Ashton got himself on the score sheet as well. But for Douglas and District, Robbie Hay with a goal, Richard Radcliffe with 1, and my old mate Lewis Qualtrough got the third one for D&D. Cracking result for Michael.
Okay, Canada Life Combination 1 moving on. Marown against Foxdale, again awaiting a result for that, 166 177 if you do know it. St Mary's 2, Russian 3, almost identical to the first team game. Yeah,
it is, and these 2 teams I think are going to be involved in the chase for the championship at the end of the season. And St Mary's goal scorers today, Dylan Vick with a goal, Tommy Fenlon got the other. Haven't got Russians United's goal scorers, so if you could please text us through 166 177.
And again, Onken, another commanding victory, 10-1 against 10-2, against St George's.
Yeah, and Onken haven't got their scorers, but George Kissick got 1, maybe 2 goals for St George's, and St George's, a lot of young players in there, a few experienced players in there, trying to just get the team together really and build on performances each week. But taken to the sword, if you like, today by Onken, 10 goals. That's a lot, isn't it?
One result we've just getting on text in Combi is Laxey 2, Peel 3. I'll just see if I've got the no, I haven't got scorers for either team there, but Laxey 2, Peel 3.
Yeah, and with Laxey, they're much improved. They've got a few more, I'd say, more experienced players in that team. Still a lot of young players in there, but Peel will be happy enough because, like the first team, they've bled the youth. They've come through into the first team, and now the combination are doing the same with a couple of experienced heads in there just to guide them, Karen Christian being one of them. So Peel will be happy enough with those 3 points. And, Laxey disappointed with home advantage. They might have just taken something, but it didn't happen.
And Ramsey 1, Corinthians 2.
Superb result by Corinthians. Midweek I watched them, and they found it tough going against St John's and got beat. But reigning champions Ramsey, and they were sort of doing ever so well. I think they were second in combination 2 up until today, but it was Ryan Nelson who got 1 for Corinthians, and Lee Ford as well got another goals. Evergreen Lee Ford, and I think Lee's son turns 16, I think it is, in about a month's time, and Then it'll be interesting to see what the conversation's like around the dinner table.
And again, looks like another good game in finishing off. Comby 1 is St John's United 3, Union Mills 5.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant result for Union Mills because St John's were third in the league. They played 2 with 6 points, as were with Union Mills. They were just a little bit down in 9th place, played 2 for only 1 point. But they did well today. JJ Griffin were one of the goals for Union Mills. Mika Rowe got 2 goals. Carl Uren on the score sheet as well. And Leo Hayes got the other one. Haven't got St John's goal scorers.
And moving on to Arden and Druggan, limited combination 2, of course, Ramsey Youth Centre. Old Boys not in action today. That game against Castletown was postponed due to Castletown not being able to field a team. Obviously, that meant there was an opportunity for some other teams to make up some ground on them on the table. Colby 2, Douglas Athletic 3 as a result we've just had in on text, Tony. So Colby not taking that opportunity to leapfrog Ramsey.
No, they haven't, and Colby were top of the table, weren't they? Played 2 for 6 points. As were with Douglas Athletic. They missed one of the games due to free week, but they played one with no points, but they got the second one. And, Douglas Athletic have only got one team in the league, which is in the combination. So just see how that team builds on that one. But, to beat the league leaders 3-2 shows that they've got something there.
And scorers for Douglas Athletic, Carl Wagstaff, Johnny Knowles and Graham Duggan with the 3 goals. And Douglas Royals against Jims, we're still awaiting a result for that. Again, 166, 177, if you could let us know. Pulrose United 1, Braddon 9. Again, another commanding result for Braddon.
Yeah, I've got Pulrose's scorer, Paul Kelch it was, who got the goal. I haven't got Braddon's scorers through. Let's just check, see if we've got any through. Thanks to JP, Johnny Palmer. He's got the Laxey score in their combination, which was 3-2-2 Peel. We've got that one. And I don't think we've got anything else come through. No, we haven't.
I just got the scorers through as well for St John's United in Comby. It was Liam Sale with 2 and Brendan Forrester with 1 for that game. That was the St John's United 3, Union Mills 5. Final game then, Tony, D&D 4, Michael United 1.
And for D&D, it was Cameron McVeigh with his first senior goal for the club, so well done, Cameron. Shane McCormick got 2 goals as well. That's his first competitive goals for Douglas and District. Not too sure got the other one. It was 1-0 at half-time. We haven't got Michael United's scorer.
All right, Tony, thank you very much. And you back out and about next week. Do you know where you're going to be for us next Saturday afternoon?
I don't know yet because I'm just waiting for my instructions from Rob, but we'll head down to the Bowl now for FC Alaman's game against Bury. There's a lot of Bury fans over, and hopefully they're making their way into the stadium now. Give us a clean run across the road and see Mr. Pritchard and see what we can bring to you.
All right, Tony, have a great evening. It's certainly a fine evening for it as well.
Certainly is. It's going to be hot.
Yeah. All right, cheers. Thanks very much, Tony.
Manx Radio Sport.
Just gone at 20 past 5 here then on Manx Radio's Saturday Sport Classified, and it's time to look at rugby, and we say good evening to Dave Christian.
Yeah, good evening, Simon. Not been a brilliant day for the Isle of Man in the English League system today, with defeats for both Douglas and Vagabonds in their opening matches. Douglas would look up first. They were away at Furwood Waterloo. Waterloo is one of the oldest clubs in the country. I think somewhere like 1874 they were formed. So real old boys. Douglas are proud of their age record as well. But today it wasn't their way. 33-0 the final score at the famous Blundell Sands ground. And, well, it was a bit of a second half collapse, if I'm honest. Douglas was trailing 7-0 at half time, and in the second half had 4 unanswered tries ran past them. Waterloo coach, I've had a message from Gareth Hussein-Owen, who travelled with the Douglas squad today, and Gareth tells me that the Waterloo coach afterwards said that he didn't feel the game or the scoreline reflected the way the game was played, and he thought they were in for a really, really tight game, especially when they got to half-time only 7-0 ahead. But in the second half, he described Douglas as looking a little bit undercooked. So that's probably down to pre-season preparation. They've only got a week now till the next game. Widnes are the visitors at Portachi next Saturday, and there's not much time to make any changes. It's a little bit too early, though, in the season to tell whether that's going to make a big difference. We only are in game one. We know Douglas have had some new signings over the summer, so we'll leave it before we comment on the prospects for the rest of the season. But 33-0 loss in your opening match doesn't augur well, so fingers crossed for Douglas. I was at the only game on Ireland this afternoon. That was at Ballafletcher, where Vagabonds hosted Ormskirk. Plenty of history between the two sides, although they haven't played each other since 2015. Today, well, you had a feeling that it might be a chance for Vagabonds to sneak some early points, but it wasn't to be, and Ormskirk in the end won 31-13. It's difficult to say really where it went wrong for Vagabonds. They took an early lead. Cam Finley sweetly struck a penalty in there's just a second minute, 40 metres out, straight down the middle, and you thought, well, this could go Vagabonds' way. But 10 minutes later, Ormskirk hit back at the other end. Two players for them that made all the difference were Rhys Ward in the centre and Joe Whitfield at fullback, and it was Rhys Ward who stepped neatly inside the Vagabonds' defence to score and put Ormskirk 5-3 in front. There was then 20 scoreless minutes as the teams wrestled for territory, and Vaggers finally won the wrestling match when Joe Lowe crashed over from close range, and that left Vagabonds in front 8-5 at half-time. Again, fingers crossed, it looked like things were going to go well for them, but 2 minutes into the second half, Rhys Ward broke clear for the visitors. He found Joe Whitfield in support, and he scored under the posts. Andy Evans added the conversion, and 5 minutes later, Evans went in for a try of his own, and he again converted that one. And from 8-5 in front, Vagabonds were suddenly 19-8 behind with quite a bit of work to do. 20 minutes left to play, and the workload got significantly bigger when Ethan Kermode picked up a yellow card for a high tackle. And Ormskirk immediately exploited the numerical advantage, and Joe Whitfield showed pure pace down the left wing, and he raced in for his second. 8 minutes to play, Whitfield opened up Vaggers down the left again, and well, he didn't quite finish this one. Centre Ollie Roper was right behind him, and he did finish it, and that put the lead out to 31-8. Rob Pease pulled a consolation try back for Vagabonds, and it's I call it the Johnny Matheson, Denise Williams try. It was too little, too late. But Vagabonds 31-13, they're going to be disappointed. They're going to be hurting. They'll be away next week, so that's little time for them to recover from this. They played well in patches, but Ormskirk just took their chances a little bit more clinically. And, well, if you're going to commit yourself to attack, particularly towards the end of a game, you're always going to leave holes behind you. So that just about sums up a poor start for the Isle of Man in week one.
Dave Christian, thank you very much there with the report from today, should I say, rugby for the Manx teams.
Manx Radio Sport.
Just approaching 5:25 then. We'll very shortly be handing over to Rob Pritchard for team news for FC Isle of Man at the Bowl this evening. But before we do that, let's welcome back Ben Cunningham. You've had a long day so far and managed to convince you to stick around for another hour and a half.
I think people might be getting tired of me by the end of today.
So it was the opening weekend of the mixed leagues in hockey, and winning starts for all the favourites. So let's start off with Backers A, who ran out 6-1 winners against Vikings B.
Yeah, strong start there for Backers A. Just what they wanted going into this opening weekend to really prove that they wanted to get their hands back on this title. Elliot Reid with 2, Emma Corlett with 1, and the new MHA chairman, Andy Whiting, with a hat-trick.
Okay, and Vikings A2, Harlequins A0.
Yeah, really strong performance there for Harlequins, keeping their Vikings to just 2 goals. Kim Carney and Dom Hubble for Vikings A. I forgot to mention the Vikings B goal scorer was Kyle Gundwin.
Okay, it's Derby to kick off things in the season. Valkyries B 0, Valkyries A1.
Yeah, and a really close game. And I think the message, I don't know if you've got it on the screen there, it said in the last 15 minutes, the breakthrough for Valkyries A. And Ollie Webster got the goal, which gave the reigning champions the victory over their B team.
Yeah, I do have that here somewhere. Yes, let's see what it says. Amazing performance from the B team, fighting throughout and only conceding in the last 15 minutes was the report we had earlier on.
So a real proper good derby, that.
And Backers B2, Castletown Celts 3.
Yeah, really close game, and these two were evenly matched last season. I think it's going to be the same again this season. Kean Ledridge with 1, Chris Whiting with 1, and then for Castletown it was George Powell with 2, and a name that's making the headlines at the minute, Archie Cox with 1.
And I think you need to take some credit here, Ben, because you correctly predicted all of the Premier League scores right, I believe.
I know, so don't speak too soon. It's only the first weekend.
I'll mention that to Rob, so you get on next weekend. Mixed Division 1, Valkyries C2, Backers C4, I believe. We did earlier on think it might be 5, but it's 4, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely 4. Backers C have confirmed that they've only got 4 goal scorers, so we're going for 4-2. Alex Stewart with 3 and Will Wiseman with a penalty flick. And then for Valkyries, it was Chris Thomas with 2. Good start there for Backers C.
Vikings D1, Ramsey A8.
Yeah, Ramsey A obviously were the team relegated from the Premier League into Division 1, and they've made a strong statement proving that they're wanting to get back into the Premier League. An 8-1 win over Vikings D. Richie Gelder for Vikings D, and then for Ramsey A, it was Nat Smith with 4, Sophie Crossgrave, Alfie Mellor, Vic Garner, and Christina Cameen.
Okay, and one of the late results we've got in since we ran through the classifieds was Castletown Southerners 11, Vikings C1.
Yeah, big result there for Southerners. Strong performance there today by them. Ned McGregor with 4, Matty Gorry with 1, Andy Winstanley with 3, Andy Wiggle with 1, Lucy Allen with 1, and Kira Kelly with 1. And then the consolation for Vikings C was Josh Knight.
Okay, moving on to Mixed Division 2, Valkyries D, nil, Backers Colt 6.
Yeah, good start for Backers Colt over Valkyries D team, which I thought might have gave them a bit more of a game today, but obviously Backers Colts have got their formation sorted, and the goal scorers came in 2 by 2. It was George Leese with 2, Dave Partons with 2, and Alina Wiseman with 2.
And Southern Derby, Castletown Cushags 1, Castletown Camags 4.
Yeah, Castletown derbies always are really entertaining, and this one's proved to be just that. For Cushags, it was Chris Stereopoulos, and then for Camags, it was Eden McCubbin, Los Heaton, Fern Bagazzi, and Robbie Volga.
Another big result in one of the later games, Harlequins B8, Ramsey Ravens 1.
Yeah, and Harlequins B newly promoted into Division 2 and making a really strong statement there. It's proven that they're in this title race. Tom Hurd with 3, Caleb Blakemore with 3, Corey Corkill with 1, and Sam Clegg with 1. And the consolation for Ramsey Ravens was Tom Howard.
Okay, moving on to Mixed Division 3, Backers Mixed Books 2, Backers D4.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect from Backers Mixed Books today, with them being a newly formed team. So going into this weekend, it was going to be, let's see how they form. And they've really proved their money's worth today. And Backers D have not had it easy. Neil Brew with 2, Josh Sainz with 1, and Christian Davies with 1 for Backers D. And then for Mixed Books, it was Alice Quine and Dan Stevenson.
And another Castletown derby, Mixed Division 3, Castletown Carrick 0, Castletown Cosney 7.
Yeah, Cosney really getting a good win over Carrick today. Kieran Collister with 4, Isla Cox with 1, Dulce with Volga with 1, and Ryan Eggbridge with 1.
Okay, and the final results in Mixed Division 3, Vikings E6, Ramsey Rookies 0.
Yeah, Vikings E, of course, relegated from Division 2 last season, and they'll be wanting to make sure that they're in the title fight in Division 3. Morgan Braidwood with 2, Jacob Hardens with 2, and Henry Stewart with 2.
And moving on to the Mixed Under-15s League, again, another Castletown derby. They were out in force today, weren't they? Castletown Sabres 1, Castletown Sharks 2.
The amount of derbies for Castletown today just proves how much they've got in their camps of just players coming through. It is incredible down south, the way they're just bringing players on and on. For Castletown Sharks, it was George Hampton and Florence Henson, and then for Sabres, it was Ashton Flick.
Okay, and another late result. We've now got the full details for Valkyries 5, Backers 2.
Yeah, Will Miller with 3, Harry Lewis with 1, and Ria Mayer on her debut for Valkyries. And then for Backers, it was Ollie Parton and Ryan Cartwright.
Okay, and the final one, Ben, again sticking in Mixed Under-15s League, Vikings 3, Ramsey 4.
Yeah, really good game there, and this just shows how close the Under-15s League is going to be. It was very close last season, and it looks like it's going to be just that again this season. For Vikings, it was Henry Stewart with 2 and Emily Jacobs with 1. And then for Ramsey, it was Toby Bashford with 2, Ollie Gamble with 1, and Daisy Lee with 1.
I had a message in about that game as well, Ben, just to say player of the match for Ramsey, Cam Ayres, on his under-15s debut.
So, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And, I mean, credit to everyone who's played in a match today. I know we had reports coming in that some games were stopping for drinks breaks, and it's quite rightly so. Of course, player health does come first as well, so we all have to make sure, as umpires and officials and everything, all players are playing to the safety of each other.
And it'll be, we said on FM before, it'll only be a few weeks, and it'll be howling with wind, lashing with rain, and it'll be freezing cold.
Yeah, probably next week when I'm back out on the pitch and Paul's back in the studio.
Probably will be. Ben, thank you very much. And I know you've had a long day today, so go and enjoy your Saturday evening.
Thank you.
All right, cheers.
Manx Radio Sport.
Tony Mepham making his way down to the bowl then, 27 minutes away from kick-off for the Ravens, who take on Bury this evening. And joining Tony Mepham on commentary duty this evening is Rob Pritchard, and Rob has team news for us. Good evening, Rob.
Yeah, good evening, Simon. Welcome to a sun-kissed Bowl Stadium where FC Isle of Man, for the first time in nearly a month, are back on home soil in the NWCFL Premier Division, taking on one of the real heavyweights of this particular league. We do indeed have team news, so we'll start with the hosts, FC Isle of Man. In goal is number 1, Adam Killier, and then it's number 2, Callum Sherry, number 3, Jacob Crook, number 4, Jamie Corlett, number 5, Alex Maitland, number 6, Carl Watson, number 7, Steve Whitley, number 8, Sam Baines, number 9, the captain, Sean Doyle, number 10, Ronan McDonnell, and number 11 is Adam Adebayi. The substitutes for FC Isle of Man: number 12, Tom Creer, number 14, Ryan Burns, number 15, Daniel Gerrard, number 16, Holly Jackson, and number 17 is Benjamin Wasser. For the visitors, Bury, in goal is number 1, Mitchell Allen, then it's number 2, Bebeto Gomez, number 3, and the captain, Gareth Peat, number 4, Lewis Earle, number 5, Ben Hockenhull, number 6, Cameron Fogarty, number 7, Rustam Stepans, number 8, Lewis Alessandra, number 9, Ruben Jerome, number 10, Brian Lee, and number 11 is Tanaka Chirera. 5 substitutes also for Dave McNabb's Bury side. They are number 12, Joshua Gregory, number 13, Samuel Ashton, number 14, Alec Babayan, number 15, Ariwa Gooden, and number 16 is Andrew Briggs. Your referee this evening is Thomas Fox, and his assistants are Matthew Shaw and Liam Thomas. Well, both these sides come in contrasting form going into this particular game, where a bumper crowd is once again expected for this particular fixture. For FC Isle of Man, it was an incredibly frustrating August, managing just 1 win in 6 during the last calendar month, but they got September off to the best possible start earlier this week with a 3-1 victory away at Prestwich Hayes on Tuesday evening. They face a Bury side tonight who are in imperious form at the start of this season. They're undefeated in all their 11 games across all competitions so far, including currently being on a 7-game winning streak, and to add to that, they've earned 3 clean sheets in their last 4 fixtures. So Bury, as it stands, going into this weekend at the very least, we'd have to check some of the other results, were one of only 2 undefeated teams in the NWCFL Premier Division going into today's fixtures, along with Chadderton. Can Bury keep up that form? And with a few games in hand they still have, because of the recent FA Cup commitments that they've been having, they could well be finding themselves very quickly up towards the top of the table if they can pick up maximum points with those games they still have to come. For FC Isle of Man, there was a big change in the last 5 minutes. I was actually informed in terms of the squad. Tom Creer comes in, was named in the original starting side, but also was Dean Pinnington. Dean Pinnington was named in the squad for this weekend. However, he has been omitted at the last second after failing a late fitness test. So Dean Pinnington, who was due to be in the squad this weekend, is now dropping out. Tom Creer comes onto the bench. So FC Isle of Man, can they continue their positive start to September after what was a difficult August, up against a Bury side who are still looking to continue their relentless charge across the league and across all competitions, all except for what could be a very entertaining this evening? FC Isle of Man versus Bury, kick-off at 6 p.m. We'll be live on Manx Radio, DAB and AM 1368 from 5 to 6 with the build-up and the game itself. In the meantime, Simon, back to you.
Rob, before you go as well, we can hear a lot of noise in the background there. We're aware there are several hundred Bury fans over on Ireland for this, and it's the first home game for the Ravens in almost a month. Are you seeing good numbers there? I know we're still 25 minutes away from kick-off, but good evening for it as well.
We are indeed seeing some very good numbers. Yes, we do have a good number of both home and away supporters making their way into the stadium, as has been the case in the last couple of years. Because of the sheer number of away supporters that have been making their way here, there is actually segregation in the stadium. So over to my left-hand side, looking towards the end, just in front of the athletics track of the National Sports Centre, that is reserved for the travelling Bury supporters. And over to our right-hand side, toward the end, just in front of Pulrose Bridge, is where the home supporters will be situated. But yes, good numbers making their way in. The weather is likely to help as well. I suppose we have to make the most of it while we can before those dark days across the winter start coming in. But conditions looking absolutely fantastic for this evening.
Rob Pritchard, thank you very much. And Rob back with full commentary from just before 6 o'clock here on AM 1368 and Manx Radio AM on DAB. Also as well online, if you head over to manxradio.com, choose the Listen AM option, you'll find full coverage of the Ravens game this evening. That is it for Saturday Sport Classified for this week. Thanks very much to Tony Mepham, Dave Christian, Ben Cunningham and Rob Pritchard for their contributions to the programme. We'll be back from 4 o'clock again next Saturday afternoon with the full-time hour between 4 and 5. Classifieds from 5 o'clock onwards. I'll be back very shortly at 6 o'clock over on the FM side with the indie setlist for your Saturday evening. We will quickly hand the airwaves back over to our Radio Caroline weekend and Rob Pritchard joining you in about 15 minutes time as he looks ahead to that FC Isle of Man Bury game, and I'll speak to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening.